Stephen Correño, KOR Sports, right here with the great Eddie Hearn. Man, we're here in Arizona, Cuadras Rodriguez. I feel like this fight and the Chocolatito fight, man, they were great to begin with, but they didn't get worse at all. Possibly even better. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just, with COVID and everything at the moment, it's so difficult to not have a problem with a show. And, when you take Chocolatito against Estrada, that was a situation where it's a trilogy, etc. And Estrada called and just said, look, I haven't recovered from COVID. I'm not going to be fit. And I just thought, shit, we'd sold so many tickets in San Diego. And then I just thought, Martinez won't take it, will he? I spoke to Eddie Reynoso and he's like, he's ready. He's crazy. He's a crazy kid, and it's such a great fight. Like Estrada against Chocolatito, great trilogy. But this fight is just different, it's dangerous, it's he who dares, etc. And then you go to this weekend where we had the same thing. Rung Visai flew to Phoenix and it wasn't even COVID, he had like a kidney problem or something like that, went to hospital, just not fit to fight. And, young man over there, Jesse Rodriguez, who was fighting on the card, I said, would he step up to Superfly? I know that Robert Garcia has always said, whatever opportunity presents itself for Jesse Rodriguez, we will take it because he's brilliant and he's ready. But to step up 2 divisions, even the management and people we spoke to, they were a bit more reluctant than Jesse and Robert. They were ready, and you got a great fight. Like you say, arguably a better fight than Rung Visai against Cuadras, and the intriguing part of the step up the divisions as well. It's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, it's man, and I feel like Bam told me that if he were to win on Saturday, he's just going to drop the mic, drop the belt like Riddick Bowen and go back down to 108. But I mean, that's...
The problem with that is, you're opening up so many huge fights. You think if you're Jesse Rodriguez and you win on Saturday, you could fight Julio Cesar Martinez at flyweight. You could fight Chocolatito at super flyweight. You could fight Rung Visai at super flyweight. You could fight Estrada. So the bigger fights are obviously in the bigger divisions. But it's fascinating that he can go from 108, 112, 115, and you're going to see if he can compete with those bigger guys, because Cuadras is a bigger guy. Like, he's a big super flyweight, he punches very hard, and he's tough. But I feel that Jesse's going to really outbox Cuadras, but it's just a case of that size and power and how that's going to play into the fight.
I love the mix of these guys and just the future that those divisions.
The refreshing thing is they're all up for it. You know what I mean? It's not like, you imagine you've got like 8 days to go and you've got a guy who's going to go up 2 divisions and fight someone else in a 50-50 fight. It's like, yeah, I'm in. So it's great.
It's a great problem to have as a promoter, I'm sure. Man, word on the boxing street is you're flirting with Terrence Crawford a little bit. And any updates and anything like that you could tell me on that?
We had a brief chat with his management. The problem is with Terrence is he's a pound for pound great. He wants a lot of money. And it's only specific fights, in my opinion, that will generate that kind of money. And obviously Errol Spence is one of them. And I can't deliver that fight. So I'm in a bit of a position like Top Rank are in, where what can I offer Terrence Crawford? Unless I can deliver him a fight that delivers for DAZN, delivers financially for the fans and Terrence Crawford and of course the fans in terms of entertainment. So I would love him to be a part of the stable. We just got to think carefully about the route.
Yeah, it's interesting because I thought the same kind of what you said. Like, if Terrence goes your route, then does that kind of make the Spence fight dead at that point?
Not dead. Probably the same as Top Rank, really. I don't think... The problem is sometimes in boxing is Errol Spence thinks he's a lot bigger than Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford thinks he's a lot bigger than Errol Spence. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, I'm not giving him the fight. It's like, guys, there's got to be a solution. But that's boxing, isn't it? How many times have we seen it? So hopefully it can happen while they're in their prime.
Want to talk to you about Canelo, that whole situation. I know it's Bivol and possibly Triple G. Bivol would be at 175. I believe the rumor is right now Beterbiev and Smith are going to unify. Would maybe an option be going to Canelo, say, okay, maybe just a one-fight Bivol deal, get that belt, and then this way Canelo can, attempt to do the undisputed at 175?
I think that's a plan, one of the plans that he likes. It's a big challenge. You're talking about a guy coming up from what, welterweight originally. You know, he was a middleweight for a long time. Now he's a proper super middleweight. He's definitely not a light heavyweight, but he's got to go up there now and fight these monsters at 175. But that's the challenges that he loves. So yeah, he could fight Bivol and then go straight into an undisputed fight against Beterbiev. There's the Gennady Golovkin fight, which remains, you know, one of the biggest in boxing. And you know, I just think that he has a lot of options. It just comes down to, you know, we get the question: are you going to get him? What's he going to do? I don't. He's going to do what motivates him and Eddie. Do you know what I mean? Like, we get on great. He's a friend of mine, but he's just not going to. Doesn't mean he's just going to go with us. It needs to be, when you've got what he's got, it's got to be something that excites you. And I think the plan of moving up and trying to become undisputed again is exciting to him.
Why the third Triple G fight? You say you feel boxing fans are clamoring for that, but I feel like even Canelo himself wasn't a big fan of the idea, at least at first when he first came to DAZN. I believe that's kind of some of the issues Golden Boy and he had.
That was more money. This fight, you know, I feel that the two fights were very close fights, right? And there'll always be people in a close fight that say he should have won, he should have won. I still think, and I don't know, he's never said it to me, but I would think that there's maybe a little bit of Canelo that goes, I want to just, no doubt, do you know what I mean? Like, I want to stop him, I want to knock him out, you know, and the thing is can you imagine Canelo against Triple G, Trilogy, undisputed, being anything but an absolute bloodbath? I mean, and that's what people want to see. Two of the best fights I've ever seen, the first two. The third would be another war, because Gennady would be, it's all or nothing in that fight. That's his last fight if he loses that fight. So, you know, I think it's a brilliant fight. I'd love to make it, because as a fight fan, you know, I mean, I've promoted Callum Smith fight, Yildirim fight, Billy Joe Saunders fight, and they've just been the most amazing experiences. But the Golovkin trilogy for undisputed, it's a little bit different, you know, and I'd love to do it.
So you think Canelo would be okay going to 175, winning that belt, and then coming back down for Triple G?
He can do it easy. Like, the weight's not a problem. So, you know, he can make 168, he can make 175, but, you know, it just depends on what he and Eddie want to do.
And that's also what Triple G moving up as well. Well, obviously he's contracted to fight Murata first at some point, right? And then he himself, as you've spoken to Triple G, is fine moving up to 160.
You know, there's no, I haven't spoke to Triple G, but he knows, like, Canelo's not coming a pound under 168. That's his weight limit. And, you know, I don't think Gennady Golovkin, you know, I don't imagine it's easy for Gennady at 160 anymore. You know, yeah, exactly. So I think he'll be quite pleased with 168.
I heard this thing about David Benavidez. Obviously, he's fighting Lemieux, hopefully in April, May. Andrade's moving up now to 168. I've never heard of governing bodies kind of working together, you know what I mean?
When you've got a major champion, undisputed champion, I think they're trying to find a way that it's easier to find mandatory challengers rather than, because the problem is when you've got 4 mandatory challengers, it's like who goes where. So what we're saying is, if Andrade beats Zach Parker, becomes the interim champion, Benavidez is the interim champion in the WBC, order that fight, and the winner is the mandatory challenger to Canelo Alvarez. That takes care of those 2 governing bodies in that situation. We love the fight, and so that's the process that we're talking about going through at the moment.
I mean, it sounds great to me. I love it too. I love those matchups as well.